Thank you, Abraham. I've been listening to your tapes for about 4 years. This is the first time I've ever come to see you. I just wanna say, I watched one Charlie Rose show in the last 10 years, and it was the one with fish. Everything you've been saying, I came here with lists of questions, and I've had these questions for 2 years. They're gone now.
But there will be more.
Oh, well, I just wanna share one incredible thing that happened. When I first heard the Abraham material, I just felt like, "Oh, this is the truth I've been waiting for. I love this." So I needed $30,000. So I said to the universe, "I want $30,000." And I said, "And I want it to come in a way that doesn't hurt anybody. I don't want someone to die." And I said,
You'll get over that in time.
"Well, at the time, I had actually. That was a requirement. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it was my requirement." And I said, "And I want it to come in a way that it makes me laugh. And I want it to come in a way that is so ridiculous that I will always know that law of attraction is powerful and works." Well,
So you were not only satisfying the desire for the 30,000, but you were satisfying the desire to discover that law of attraction worked and that you had the power to apply it?
I felt really clear that it was
Yes.
gonna work.
Yes.
So, I guess I was also. So, I started to do what you said, and pretty soon, it was like I had moved into a reality in which I was gonna get $30,000. Well, I get so excited. I drive down the street, I think, "I wonder if there's an armored car. Maybe it's gonna toss, like, $30,000 out at me." And then I'd be walking around, I think, "Maybe there's a diamond ring somewhere." I got to the point where I didn't have a doubt that I was gonna have $30,000.
And you were beating the drum of expectation. You were bringing yourself little by little into more and more plausible expectation.
And it was so much fun.
Yes.
And finally, I want to add one more thing, let me think. Um, oh, I went out shopping one day, and I was buying all these dresses, and suddenly I had this little thought, "You don't have any money." And then I thought, "Well, that doesn't matter because 'cause I'm getting $30,000." And you know the end of the story. But, a dear, dear friend of mine, somebody I love, said that they were going to come up and see me, and I hadn't seen this person in maybe 10 years, something like that. And I I was just happy to see my friend. And this friend, as far as I knew, was not wealthy. And the friend came up and we go way back, and the friend came up and said, "Well, I just won the lottery." And I said, "Good, do I get my $30,000?" And my friend said, "Yes." And, I got my $30,000. And see, here's the thing. We would go out to breakfast afterwards, and I'd say to my friend, "You just won the lottery," and we'd laugh, we'd sit there, we'd fall over laughing, we were, like, holding our stomachs, we were laughing, and that was my condition, it had to make me laugh, and I was there laughing and saying, "This is my condition."
And so now are you understanding that you can open the vortex in a very wide way? In other words, are you at the place now where, because you're no longer trying to prove that it works, that you can just say to the universe, "Universe, I would like this, please, and bring it to me anytime in any comfortable way that you see fit." When a lot of things that you've been wanting converge, you feel an impulse that wild horses can't keep you from. But meanwhile, you just got to keep yourself vibrationally happy so that you have some reasonable access to keep adding to the pot. It's like, here you are, this collector of data, and you like that, and you like that, and you don't like that, which makes you know you like that, and you like that, and you like that, and you don't like that, which makes you know that you like that. So you're adding in terms of preferences, little by little by little by little, but we don't mean to make it sound little. It's a lot. You are adding hugely to the database of your future experience. All of you are doing that. This workshop is about one thing only: you finding a way to become a vibrational match to what you've launched out there that is yours to be had if you just relax and start trusting that well-being's supposed to come to you, you see. So we go through all kinds of antics. We come up with endless processes. We try to convince you in endless ways that you are deserving of good things, but it's not good things that somebody else has assigned to you. It's not things that were predetermined even before you got here. It's good things that you have set into motion from the data that you've been collecting along this physical trail. So when you've gathered boxes of data of things that you found interesting and good feeling when you gathered them, your future experience is so full of so many possibilities. And here's the thing that we wanted to say to you earlier, but you couldn't have heard, but now you can. The universe knows the perfect timing of all of those things, and will find, through the crack of least resistance, the best way to deliver it to you. And you know what? That $30,000 was on its way to you one way or another. And it didn't have to be only one 30,000. There are 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000, 30,000 lined up over and 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 over again. In other words, it can continue to flow into your experience. Sometimes people worry that they got to the dock and they missed their boat, and we say there is always another one. There are always, in your immediate vicinity, not fewer than 20 very real probabilities of not fewer than 20 very real probabilities of opening to give you what you want, but you've got to get in vibrational proximity of it. And so somebody like you who is willing to continue to dream even while manifestations that you formerly dreamed for have not come to fruition, you've got the magic formula.
Thank you.
As you keep dreaming, as you keep wanting, as you keep adding stuff to the pile, and more importantly, as you keep using your dreams as your reason to feel good in the now, good stuff just avalanches into your experience until people all around you are saying, "Who anointed you king? How is it that these good things happen to you?" And you say, "I'm deserving of them. I brought myself into vibrational alignment with them, and they show themselves to me in every possible way. Every corner I turn, there's something else that surprises and delights me." That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But those of you who have decided that you have to earn it, you're in a whole different vibrational place. Those of you who are angry at other people who are receiving good fortune, you're in a whole different vibrational place. In other words, you're wanting to move into the vibration of expecting good things to come to you. And that's why this emotional journey that we've been selling with everything that we've got here today is so important.
I'm an artist. I've been doing art for a couple of years. And I have a question about when I see art. I love looking at art and from the past and looking at current art. And I'm wondering, how do artists or musicians for that matter tap into that place where something comes through them, source obviously comes through them onto the page or onto the music? Like, how do you get there? Because what I've done in my learning this new thing is to look at art from the past and emulate that and and take lessons and try and perfect my skill, which is different than tapping into some place and having this magic, mysterious stuff pour through there.
Well, sometimes that is a good first step because you're learning the tools, you're learning some techniques, you're gaining some confidence. In other words, there isn't anything wrong. It's like Esther getting ready to receive us and receiving us by receiving the impulse of thought and typing it. And it helped that she was already typing 120 words a minute before she started receiving us. Rather than having to learn how to type at the same time that she was receiving, it would have been a little bit awkward. And so there is some advantage to becoming familiar with your tools. But then you reach a place where, as you are reaching for, you want to get tapped in with that energy stream or that alignment. We like to call it alignment. Now, before you go further, it's interesting that you wove this into the idea of a musician, too. Jerry and Esther happened to catch a piece of a Charlie Rose interview the other evening, where he was interviewing one of the people who was in the musical group Fish that is just decided no longer to be together. And as Jerry and Esther listened to this man who was describing what it was like for him, Esther said, It's what it's like for me when I receive Abraham. She could hear in his words as he described this moment in time where you can feel that you're being moved by something that's coming from within you. And he said, if you're really, really lucky, the other members of your group are tapped into the same thing, and you're all moving in rhythm with one another, as if there is one mind that is moving you all. And he talked about the moments in time when that happened and how moving it was to the audience. And then he went on to explain, and Esther could really feel between his words that what he was getting at is the commercial nature of his life now has taken that away from him, and that is what he was always reaching for. So now we want to get back to the specifics of your question and say to you that it is through trial and error that you find that place. Just like we're talking about reaching for the words until you feel relief, when you have the canvas before you and you have a reasonable sense of what you're wanting to accomplish and you're flowing with what's coming through you, if you will keep in the forefront of your mind, I'm wanting to relax into the rhythm that is coming forth from within. You'll recognize it when you reach it. And sometimes you might do a lot of painting for only a moment of that feeling. But when you find that feeling, you'll recognize that that's the feeling that you're reaching for. Artists, musicians, lyricists, all kinds of people that are creative in nature. And of course, everything is creative, but we're talking about those words creative where they've assigned that to themselves in some way. They understand often more easily than many other people what we're talking about here, about feeling yourself clicking into that place where you can feel a broader part of you flowing. And so the work really is the work that you do in order to get to that place before you even pick up the brush. The real work is getting into alignment, because once you're in alignment, then the broader part of you is going to perform the action for you. So many artists and authors will say, I struggled for months over this, and it came in a matter of seconds or minutes, because it took them a while to get themselves into the place, but when they got into the place, then it began to flow. So our strong desire for you is that you not be upset with yourself when you're not in the place, but that your work be, or the mindset be, I'm in the process of getting into the place, and I'm happy in the place that I'm in, rather than, oh, I'm not in the place, therefore it isn't flowing. And we have to tell you that 99% of what's out there in terms of creation that's being sold was created from people who weren't in the place. But that doesn't mean they weren't having fun in the process, and it doesn't mean that what they created wasn't vibrationally compatible with somebody else who was near a similar place. So
Say that again.
we really want to, because we
Yeah.
really want you to hear this. So someone isn't vibrationally in sync with who they really are, but they're having a good time and they paint something pretty good anyway, and other people resonate with it. Well, the reason different things resonate to different people is because the artist has imbued whatever she has created with the vibration from which she created it, and then the people walking through the galleries who are vibrationally similar in nature are drawn to those. You know, there's the literal color that you choose, the way that you swirl your color. All of this is vibrational interpretation. And so other people who are now looking through the gallery, who are in those different places, are drawn depending upon what their vibration in the moment is too. And so here is the most essential thing for you to hear. We spoke it briefly just a moment ago, but we really want you to hear it. There are two things that you're wanting to consider as you are creating this. Am I creating for the joy of using it as my forum through which I find my alignment and express it?
Right.
Or am I wanting to create something nice that others will like?
No.
So as it is the process through which I discover and demonstrate my alignment, that's the best way to create anything, because then the audience will find you. There are so many people who want to send out feelers to find out what the audience wants. And then they want to contour their work to match what most people are buying. And that's perfectly fine. But it is ever so much more rewarding to find your groove through trial and error. and then practice yourself into that alignment, and then let your creations stand on their own and trust that law of attraction will bring the admirers, if that is your interest, to them.